So if we go over what we covered this morning, we talked about how the lower body and the upper body move. We want to keep them nice and centered as we go back and through. And if we sort of talk through what being centered actually means, I'll grab this other golf club. So now if we look at lower body movement first, so we said that when I swing back, you see this club here against my right leg. When I turn into the backswing, my right leg stays against that club. My hips have turned roughly 45 degrees, but my leg has sort of stayed just the same angle as that club has. As the club does swing back, I'm applying a little bit of pressure into the ground through my right foot, just to help with that movement. Now this club here in my left hand, that's vertical. So I'll turn back, right leg stays on that club there. Then in the downswing, my hips will move forward, but notice my head's staying steady. You can tell by line it up with the lights on the roof there. So my hips are moving forward until my left leg is now vertical and my hips are turning. Now my hips will already have begun to turn, but at the movement order is there's a little bit of a slide, then a turn. So I'm pushing into the ground a tiny bit through my right foot, move forward, pushing into the ground through the left foot, so I've got that lower body movement. Now if we look at the upper body movement, and again we can use the lights in the background. So from here, I'm turning my lower body as I just described, but as I'm doing that, my head is staying very, very centered. So as I've turned back, my head hasn't moved. And then from here, my lower body turns the other way, and again my head stays nice and steady. About here is where I'm going to be hitting the ball, then my body can move forward and up. So I'm getting that sense of like freedom through the middle of my body here. And the upper body movement is largely directed by what my lower body's doing. There might be the tiniest little bit of head movement, but essentially it's pretty steady. So my body's staying nice and stable as I go back and through. So practicing that body movement, and then if I allow my arms to swing nice and freely, my arm movement is soft and my arms are swinging up, and it's almost like my body movement carries my arms up or flings my arms up. Now as my body goes the other way, my arms fall and they've got sufficient momentum to swing back up here on this side. So I don't have to do too much with my arms. Let my body movement move my arms, they fall and they carry up on the other side. And then if I do exactly the same thing, but now I've got a golf club in my hands, it's the same motion. So again, I don't have to use my arms and hands very much, because I'm mostly relying on my centered body movement to move the club back and through. So practicing those movements, particularly if you're watching them in your reflection, you'll find it a lot easier to get the feel of the movement while still noticing that you're moving with good form.